Pushing drop top, Stacy Lattice all tapes. The 80s had us all apes, young as Realism.
Illmatic, a tale of youth, survival, and street realism. Imagine you're walking down the streets of Queensbridge, New York in the early 1990s. Life is tough. Every corner you turn, there's a reminder of the struggles people face. Poverty, violence, and the ever-present lure of crime. In the midst of this, a young Nasir Jones, better known as Nas, is navigating this world. He's 20 years old, wise beyond his years, with a keen sense of observation and a lyrical ability that allows him to translate his experiences into something powerful. Illmatic is often considered one of the greatest hip-hop albums of all time, not just because of his technical skills, but because it paints such a vivid picture of life in the ghetto. It's raw, unapologetic, and filled with a mix of hope, despair, and reality. It's as if he is inviting you to see life through his eyes for 40 minutes, offering a window into the harsh environment he grew up in. Nas is like a journalist. He's not glamorizing crime or violence, but reporting on what he sees, what he lives. Take New York State of Mind, for example. In this track, he vividly describes the urban jungle, where every day is a battle for survival. He talks about how people carry guns for protection, how drug dealing is a way of life for many, and how poverty breeds desperation. The beat is grimy, and Nas's flow is relentless, almost like a stream of consciousness, capturing the chaotic energy of the streets. His words are like a camera, capturing the desperation and tension of the city. Another standout track is The World Is Yours, which has a different tone. Here, he isn't just talking about the struggles, he's reflecting on his own potential and ambition. Nas acknowledges the pain and hardship, but still holds on to hope, reminding himself and others that despite everything, the world is still theirs to conquer. It's a deeply introspective track, showing that he isn't just a product of his environment, he's also a dreamer who sees beyond the block. One of the defining aspects of Illmatic is Nas's wisdom. Though he's young, his reflections on life are those of someone who has seen too much, too soon. Memory Lane, Sittin' in the Park, is a nostalgic reflection on his youth. He reminisces about growing up in Queensbridge, the friendships he made, and the violence that took many of them away. He captures both the beauty and the tragedy of those memories, painting a picture that's as melancholic as it is profound. In tracks like Life's a Bitch featuring AZ, Nas confronts the harsh reality of life in the ghetto. The song is almost existential, pondering how fleeting life is and how easily things can fall apart. The lines, "Life's a bitch, and then you die. That's why we get high, because you never know when you're gonna go," reflect the coping mechanisms many people in his situation adopt, seeking temporary highs to escape the crushing weight of reality. The main principle of Illmatic can be summarized as this: life in the streets is brutal and unrelenting, but survival is possible through sharp observation, self-awareness, and an understanding of the world's harsh truths. Nas doesn't shy away from showing the darkness, but he also finds moments of light, hope, and potential. Fast forward 2 years, and Nas has grown not just as a person, but as an artist. It Was Written, his sophomore album, is a departure from the raw, gritty street narrative of Illmatic. Nas is still telling stories from the streets, but now he's looking at them from a different perspective. He's no longer just a young observer, he's someone who's navigating his own path to success, power, and influence. The album is more polished, and the themes have shifted from pure survival to ambition, self-determination, and legacy. The opening track, The Message, sets the tone. Nas is no longer just surviving the streets. He's learning how to maneuver through life's challenges with a sense of strategy and control. In this track, he speaks about betrayal, loyalty, and the personal evolution of becoming a king in his world. The lyrics are laced with metaphors of war as he positions himself as a tactician, someone who's learned how to play the game and is no longer just a pawn in it. In If I Ruled the World, Imagine That, featuring Lauryn Hill, he explores a fantasy of ultimate power and control. This track in many ways symbolizes the shift from Illmatic to It Was Written. Whereas Illmatic was about observing and surviving the harsh realities of life, This song is about transcending them. Nas imagines a world where he can change the rules, where crime and poverty no longer exist, and where everyone has the freedom to thrive. It's an anthem of ambition, reflecting Nas's own rise in the music industry and his desire to make a lasting impact. One of the key themes in It Was Written is his evolving view of power. On tracks like Street Dreams and The Setup, Nas dives into the world of organized crime, using the mafia as a metaphor for power and success. He's no longer just a street poet, he's a businessman. The album is filled with imagery of wealth, luxury, and the spoils of success. But Nas always keeps one foot in the world he came from. In I Gave You Power, Nas takes on a unique narrative, rapping from the perspective of a gun. He tells the story of how guns are passed from one hand to another, used in crimes, and discarded when no longer needed. It's a powerful metaphor for how violence controls the streets and how people are often manipulated by the very tools they think give them power. He humanizes the gun, making it clear that the real power lies not in weapons, but in the decisions people make. The message and shootouts also exemplify this mafia-like mindset. Nas is no longer the young observer of the streets. He's someone who's actively playing the game, making moves, and setting himself up for a future beyond the ghetto. There's a sense of inevitability in his tone, as if he knows he's destined for greatness, but also that the road to get there is filled with danger and betrayal. It Was Written is also about legacy. In songs like Black Girl Lost, Nas addresses the struggles of Black women in the hood, highlighting the emotional and social challenges they face. He's no longer just thinking about himself and his own survival. He's considering the broader impact of the world he comes from and what kind of legacy he wants to leave behind. The album is filled with reflections on responsibility, not just to oneself, but to the community, to the people who are still struggling even as he climbs the ladder of success. The principle of It Was Written can be summarized as the journey from survival to self-determination. Nas shows that life is about more than just getting by. It's about rising above your circumstances, claiming power, and leaving a legacy. The album is about ambition, control, and the constant tension between the world Nas comes from and the world he's trying to build for himself. In many ways, Illmatic and It Was Written represent two sides of the same coin. Illmatic is about survival, observation, and making sense of the harsh realities of the streets, while It Was Written is about using that knowledge to rise above those circumstances and to claim power and control over one's destiny. Both albums are deeply rooted in Nas's experiences growing up in Queensbridge, but they offer different perspectives on what it means to live and thrive in that environment. In Illmatic, Nas is a young poet, capturing the raw essence of street life with vivid detail and emotional depth. In It Was Written, he's still connected to that world, but now he's thinking bigger, envisioning a future where he's no longer just surviving, but ruling. Both albums teach us valuable lessons about life, ambition, and self-awareness. Illmatic reminds us that it's important to understand the world around us, to see things for what they truly are. It Was Written challenges us to go beyond observation, to take control of our destiny, and to build something lasting. By listening to these albums, we can understand Nas's evolution, not just as an artist, but as a person who's learned to navigate the complexities of life in the ghetto, all while keeping his eyes on a future that's bigger than the block he came from.